The world ocean is fraught with many mysteries, because only a small part of it has been explored. But no matter what terrible creatures are found there today, they can hardly be put on a par with the creepy monsters that lived in the ocean in the very distant past. From the most gigantic sharks and predatory ancestors of sperm whales weighing 100 tons to creep fish with a fierce bite. In this issue, I will show you these ancient monsters and tell you how they fought hundreds of millions of years ago. Mosasaurus is a mosasaur or lizard from the Mosa River. Millions of years ago, or to be more precise 66 million years ago, mosasaurs were as numerous as whales and sharks are now. Owners of a colossal large body, 2 jaws, and long jaws with massive conical teeth. They could reach 10 to 17 meters in length, and weighed an average of 115 tons. The head of the mosasaur somewhat resembled a crocodile and was similarly armed with hundreds of razor-sharp teeth. Such weapons helped the mosasaur to destroy even the most protected opponents. By the time the mosasaurs appeared, another creature was plowing the world's waters. This shark had existed by that time for more than 250 million years, and at that time the giant shark Jinsu or Surinacels was the largest and most ferocious. This is the main rival of the lizard from the Mosa River. Mosasaurs and Jinsu sharks most likely hunted in the same waters. What could this lead to? That's right, to fights with each other. According to paleontologists, sharks attacked mosasaurs, as some skeletons clearly show bite marks of attacking sharks. Thus, large sharks could injure many mosasaurs. Sharks mainly attacked young, injured or sick animals, as well as cubs. In general, Surinacel was very similar to a modern great white shark. It had a length of about 8 meters, and the weight could reach up to 3.5 tons. As you have already understood, Surinacels were also the top predator in their ecosystem. She hunted a variety of marine animals, including mosasaurs and plesiosaurs, other sharks and smaller fish. Her teeth and jaws were terrifying. They played a decisive role in battles with other aquatic inhabitants. And they bit with special cruelty. Plesiosaurus. The size of these sea lizards in length ranged from 2 to 15 meters. Plesiosaurs existed from the end of the Triassic period to the end of the Cretaceous. If in numbers, then this is 227 to 66 million years ago. There were 2 suborders of plesiosaurs, respectively. Their lifestyle was also somewhat different. Some had long necks on which a small head was planted, while others, on the contrary, had large heads on short necks. Seeing a giant lizard with a long neck in the picture, many may even confuse it with the Loch Ness Monster. And what about the enemies of the plesiosaur? In general, they had something like a feud with the previously mentioned mosasaur. Short-necked and plesiosaurs had greater speed, so they were chasing fish, and long-necked versions of sea lizards were cunning creatures who used their advantage, which was several times longer than the length of the body, that is, the neck. They caught prey by aiming with their heads. Because it appeared much later than the body, the fish were simply caught by surprise. Mosasaurs, being very powerful creatures, have learned to defeat both rivals. For example, they attacked the most vulnerable part of the long-necked plesiosaurs. During the fight, the mosasaur grabbed the opponent by the strong ligaments of bones and muscles and literally chewed through the neck. In general, plesiosaurs were interested in fish and cephalopods, but according to some reports, a preserved skeleton of a 4-meter mosasaur was found inside a 6-meter plesiosaur skeleton once found. This means that the U-shaped jaws allowed the ancient reptile to swallow the caught prey whole, which means that sometimes it could be mosasaurs. Leopleurodon is a reptile with a crocodile head, 2 pairs of flippers and a short tail. Quite an unusual appearance, you will agree. Scientists still cannot come to a unanimous opinion about the size of the bread in radon. Was its length in the region of 6 meters or still about 15? In general, this reptile belongs to the order of plesiosaurs. Leopli in radon was one of the most terrible predators that inhabited the seas in the Jurassic period about 160–155 million years ago and represented a real hunter. His long jaws and powerful rows of sharp teeth, like his eyes, made other rivals very vulnerable during fights. Megalodon. And now let's imagine the following hypothetical situation, which we, fortunately, will not become eyewitnesses and contemporaries. Two of the biggest and strongest monsters will come to grips with each other. Yes, these are Megalodon and Liopleurodon. What is your position? Who will be the winner? To begin with, you can study their dimensions, then the outcome will immediately become clear. Many scientists believe that the average size of the Liopleurodon was 5 to 7 meters, so you can't call it huge. But the Megalodon, the largest predatory shark in the history of the Earth, reached 18 meters in length. This is about the height of a 5 or 6-story house. That is, with the white shark, the most dangerous modern predatory fish, you cannot even compare. Megalodon greatly exceeds it in size. And what about the 5 rows of massive sawtooth teeth of the Megalodon? The teeth of the Megalodon were 2 to 3 times larger, more massive and stronger than the teeth of a white shark. Their average size varies from 10 to 13 centimeters. Several Megalodon teeth were found 17 to 18 centimeters long, and the largest specimen ever found had a size of 19 centimeters. Thus, if any creature decided to engage him in battle, it would hardly survive. The size and sharpest teeth are exactly the advantage that would ensure an unconditional victory for the Megalodon. Leviathan melvilla. Leviathan melvilla belongs to the genus of ancient sperm whales that lived in South America about 12 million years ago. It was discovered only in the year 2008. He got such an unusual generic name from the biblical sea monster, and the specific name from Herman Melville, the author of the book about Moby Dick. According to current estimates, the total body length of Leviathan melville ranged from 13.5 to 17.5 meters, and the weight was in the range of 100 to 120 tons. Leviathan was the owner of very large teeth. The size of the upper ones in diameter was 12 centimeters, and their length reached 36 centimeters. These are the largest teeth among all animals in history. Such a jaw was deadly. Both Megalodon and Leviathan swam in the ocean about 10 million years ago. Although there is no information about their confrontations, but let's push them together ourselves and think about what could come out of this fight. Given their nature, such predators were interested in about the same food source, whales, of which there were many in the ocean. The dimensions of the Leviathan melvilla and Megalodon are similar, except that the weight and teeth of the whale will be larger. We are there. And the shark, most likely, was more maneuverable, but both could clearly ram in battle. In such confrontations, most likely the winner was the one who attacked more successfully and, most importantly, the one who discovered the opponent earlier. Dunk last. Have you ever heard of such a thing? This monster lived 415 to 360 million years ago in the late Devonian. He was one of the most ferocious creatures of his time. Just take a look at what he looked like, and the question is why. If such a thing has arisen, it disappears by itself. Dunkleost had one of the most powerful bites in his time. This means that he could be stronger than any dinosaur and any predators that we know today. If we take a modern crocodile, the owner of the most powerful jaws that only exist today, and take a Dunkleostii, then a crocodile with half the strength definitely loses. It should also be said that according to the most conservative estimates, the individuals reached 8 meters in length and weighed about 4 tons. Dunklest was considered, perhaps, the top of the pyramid of predators of that time. This means that he most likely could not have been the prey of other animals. Who was he fighting then? With a different Dunkleosti, but, of course, smaller. One can even imagine a fight between two predators who did not have a single tooth, but had developed bone plates. They were a kind of armor and at the same time a weapon. And the strongest and the most cunning won the battle. All these creatures that I have told you about really existed and swam in the world ocean. But what about the mythical sea monsters? Why not take a look at them as well? Look further. Finally, I will tell you about 3 creepy sea monsters, which, fortunately for man, existed only in myths and legends. The Kraken is a legendary sea monster of enormous size. The Kraken resembles a giant squid or octopus in its shape. According to legend, the monster lives off the coast of Norway and Greenland. Its tentacles are quite powerful, and it can pull whole ships underwater and destroy cities with relative ease. The kraken is distinguished by endurance corresponding to its strength. In addition to its tentacles, it is armed with a wide-opening mouth full of sharp teeth. Ermengarde. Ermengarde is a sea serpent from Scandinavian mythology, a symbol of darkness and destruction. This monster was spawned by the giantess Angbota from the god Loki. Ermengarde was thrown into the ocean at birth, where he grew up. He became so huge that he was able to encircle Midgard with his giant rings, which in Scandinavian mythology is a world inhabited by people. Umebodzu. According to legend, Umebodzu lives in the ocean and capsizes the ship of anyone who dares to talk to him. The name of this Japanese spirit unites hieroglyphs denoting the sea and the monk. Perhaps this has something to do with the fact that, according to legend, Umebozu has a large round head. It resembles the shaved heads of Buddhist monks. In addition, Umebozu are also described as demonic ghosts who arrange shipwrecks and ruin fishermen. In mythology, Umebozu is described as having a gray and black, but cloud-like body and tentacled limbs. According to another legend, if Umebozu is angry, he demands that the crew roll a barrel onto the deck. He, in turn, will fill it with seawater, and then drown the ship. Well, that's it. Write in the comments which prehistoric monster struck you the most, and thank you very much for watching.